There is something special about the game of golf. The precision, the focus, the way every detail matters. And for those who love the game, every club tells a story, but too often, those clubs end up stacked in a corner, forgotten. So today, we build something different. A stand worthy of the clubs it holds, crafted with the same precision the game demands. Simple, elegant, built to last.
Now that's an intro. Whew, this feels slightly strange doing a voiceover. Felt like I haven't done one of these in a long time. So to kick things off, we are going to start out by breaking down our material. And for the material, I have chosen to use door grade MDF. It is way better quality than the stuff you can buy at the big box stores. All my parts will be getting cut out on an X-Carve 4x4 Pro CNC machine, so all I'm doing in these few first clips is just basically breaking down my material so that it will fit on the 4x4 CNC bed. Now, once I have it roughly cut with the track saw, I'll just take it over to the table saw and go ahead and clean that up. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because I already have all my parts laid out on the material, so I need the material to be a certain size for the CNC machine. Now, I will be the first to admit I did not think I would ever use a CNC in my shop, especially for something like this. But having one of these in the shop has just been incredible, and I'm able to design products and carve it out on the CNC and bring it to life. I absolutely love this machine and could not recommend it enough. So the bit that I have chosen to use for this project is from a company called Spay Tools. This is their 1/4 inch spiral downcut bit. And basically what a downcut bit does is keeps the top surface clean, which for this project, that's what I want. So once we get that tightened into the CNC collet, the next step, we can probe the machine and start carving. So once the machine is done carving out all the parts, I just take a shop vac and run it over my material. That's about the only downside with using a downcut bit is it does pack a lot of the dust in the tool paths, but not too big of a deal. Just take a shop vac and vacuum the tool paths out and you're pretty much good to go. And because I'm cutting all the way through the material, I like to use little tabs, which they are automatically generated through the software. And basically what this does is eliminates the possibility of your parts getting completely free and moving around and catching that bit when it's moving at 16,000 RPMs. So basically all I gotta do is cut a few little tabs out, then the part's completely free from the material. And for the next step, we're going to take these parts over to the router table, and to start things off, I will be using a bottom bearing flush trim bit. And the reason I'm using this bit is because I try to save my spool board on my CNC by not cutting all the way through the parts. So usually I leave a couple thousandths of an inch from cutting all the way through the material. So when I use this bit, I'm basically just trying to trim up the edges and make everything parallel and flush. Some would even say it's an unnecessary step, but for me, it's just something that I like to do, and hey, it's my project, so I'm gonna do what I want. So once I have all the parts ran through the flush trim bit, the next thing I'm gonna do is swap out for a 16th round over. Now, it's not necessary, but I think it adds a nice little touch, and plus it feels better in the hands. once we have all the parts ran through the router table, the next thing that I'm going to do is take a handheld router and I'm going to follow the grooves and use a chamfer bit. Now, the reason I'm using a chamfer bit here is because these are golf ball holders, and just giving them a slight chamfer kind of holds the golf balls in place so they can't just roll around. So with that part out of the way, the next thing that I'm going to do is start applying glue and stacking my parts together. Now, this is a really neat part in this process because I can finally see all that time I spent designing is finally starting to take shape. God, I mean, how many times am I going to say part in one clip? I just realized I said it like 3 or 4 times. But anyway, once we have all the parts glued together, the next thing I'm going to do is add a generous amount of clamps. And once I have all the clamps added, well, I get this, a pile of MDF. Or at least that's what it looks like for now, but I promise you it's going to look way better once it's complete. So just hold tight, I promise we're almost there. You got it. So now that I've allowed ample time for the glue to dry, I can go ahead and remove all the clamps. And the next step in this process is going to be drilling for little rubber feet on the bottom. Now, I like to add these rubber feet on the bottom because it keeps the stand from sliding around on turf, or if you're laying it down on concrete, it kind of keeps it from being able to move and keeps the bottom nice and clean. I mean, I think we can all agree a clean bottom is the best bottom. And once I have that complete, the next step in the process is, well, yeah, you guessed it, sanding. Everybody's favorite. But when it comes to sanding, I just use 220 grit and use my orbital sander to get all the flat surfaces. And once I have all the flat surfaces sanded, well, then it's more sanding. I take some 220 grit and hit all the edges. And now with that done, I'm ready for paint. Now for my primer of choice, I like to use Zinsser Ben Primer. It's a shellac-based primer, which for me works great on MDF. I try to avoid anything water-based because, well, MDF is like a sponge. And I've never had issues with this product, and it dries to the touch in like 15 minutes, which is awesome. And to apply this primer, I will be using the Graco Finish Pro HVLP system. And once I have all the parts completely sprayed with primer, the next step is, well, you guessed it, more sanding. I like to use 320 grit. I feel that it gives me a great finish, and I like to spend a little bit of extra time on this process because your finish is only as good as your prep. And for the paint, I will be using Benjamin Moore Regal Select Black in a satin finish. So at this point, the bases are built and painted. I wanted to figure out a way how I could separate myself from anybody else out there trying to create a product like this. And what better way to do that? Well, to use some nice black walnut. And because I wanted other options, I also made this available in cherry as well as maple. And once I have my parts cut down to size, I'll take them over to the planer and mill them down to 3/4 of an inch. And these parts that I'm currently working on right now are the accents for the base plate. And you'll see a little bit later on exactly what I'm talking about. But once I get everything milled up, we can take it over to the CNC and cut it out. And once the machine is done cutting out all the parts, the next thing I do is take it over to my router table and once again, just like the base, go around all the edges to clean it up with a flush trim router bit. And once I have everything flush trimmed, we'll go ahead and swap that bit out and put a 1/16 inch round over in. I like to run this on all my parts. It just makes it a lot smoother. It breaks all the edges and you don't have to worry about hurting yourself because nobody wants that, especially me. So before I can apply any finish to this thing, we have to do what we all love, which is sanding. I mean, if I could make a full video of just me standing there sanding something, I would. But my fear is everybody would hate me and YouTube would shut down. so I'll spare you and I won't do it. Another really cool feature that I wanted to incorporate in this design was the ability to have custom plates. I personally think it looks awesome and, well, gives you a chance to kind of make it your own. And now that I have everything prepped and ready, we can move on to the finishing process, and for that I will be using Rubio Monocoat Pure. So once I have all the parts finished with the Rubio Monocoat, the next step is employing another sweet feature that I included with this project, which is the use of magnets. And this is what I will be using to secure the custom plate to the base itself. And the reason I did it this way is because if you ever want to change out the nameplate or the logo, you can easily do that. And unfortunately for you, we are going to be finishing this project with a cherry one because the walnut one sold. But to wrap this thing up, we're going to go ahead and apply glue to the base so we can attach our top piece. And once we have that where we want it, we'll go ahead and add clamps and let the glue dry. And for the final piece to wrap this thing up, we can add the custom laser engraved plate.
Every project starts as an idea, but somewhere between the first cut and final finish, it becomes something more. It becomes a reflection of the person who built it, the patience, the craft, the care. And that's the beauty of woodworking, taking something simple and turning it into something worth keeping. Because in the end, it's not about holding clubs, it's about honoring the game.
That is going to wrap this video up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun building this project. As you can see here, I have 13 clubs in the upright position, and I chose this design so I could easily be able to select my clubs. And once again, this is offered in cherry, which is what I have right here on the floor. I have walnut and maple as well. And if you're interested in checking these out, they will be linked in the description down below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't been subscribed to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it if you did. And until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.